Right, so down here, this is the service kit that I've got. Shims. I'm just making sure that the bits I've taken off, I can be discarding them. A few nuts, seal, felt washers, the copper cups and O-rings, that kind of thing in there. Pretty standard. All the gaskets. I'm going to use the gaskets rather than the sealant on this, I think. Not sure yet. Keep those safe. And the main events, which are quite a lot of bearings again. I'm going to keep these all wrapped up. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 bearings, 2 seals, is that right? 8 bearings and 2 seals to replace, and some other bits and pieces. And on top of that, over here, this is the gear ratio change. It goes from 1.4 to 1.2. So I need to renew. I'm not going to take it out, I'm trying to keep it all clean. But this gear is going to be renewed. Also, there's a gear in there that marries up to it. So hopefully that'll give me better motorway running speed without stressing the engine as much. So that is the equivalent of single gear, which is going to be renewed on here. And coming back to the storage area, it's going to be that set up there. So that's okay, I don't have to mess about with the bearings on that one. So that's 2 easy bearings, I think. Just have a look at it. I'm pretty sure that's a 1-piece gear. Yeah, good. So there's 2 bearings on there I'm not going to have to bother with because I've got the replacement gear for it. So happy about that. 2 less things to do. Right, so I got this bad boy lined up. This is a terrible fit, I've got to say. I may have to modify it. It's supposed to be a special tool, but the fit of it is absolutely useless. So I'm going to give it a go with it as it is, see if it catches it or not. It could be messy, so I'm going to do this without the camera because I need 2 hands to do this. I suspect this is going to turn. I got it in the vise, in some soft claw vise, but I suspect it's going to have to turn, and I'm going to probably have to use some wood down there to wedge it and tighten it up a lot harder. So I'll give it a go and report back. Right, I got this going pretty easy actually. Can't be torqued up that high. So I got it moving, but it wasn't the best fit, which I'll show in a minute. Let's these off. Right, that's supposed to fit snugly in there. It just wasn't. You can see it's sitting prouder there. A special tool and a special tool that doesn't work. That was a waste of money. Alright, let's see if these come off easy or not. No, they're going to need a puller on them. That's going to be fun. Maybe use a press on that. Get a plate either side. We'll see how that goes. All that needs stripping down, and that's my next task. Get this stripped down and then start putting it back in. Right, so I've pressed the actual top bearing off with a hydraulic press. That came off really easy. I was actually setting it up on the press, and I supported under the low gear and then just pressed down on the shaft, and it all popped off together. So that came off really easy. I was actually setting it up to video, and then it more or less came off in my hand, so that was kind of an easy steal. Next up is a gear and a bushing. I have to be careful, this is not in the vise that well, so I'm going to keep everything face down. Next up, let's see if we can steal this off. Ow, that hurt. All this stuff's dead sharp. I'm going to have to use two hands to pull that lot off. You can see it's loose, but it will come off. Might be able to get it. No, I don't want to drop this, it's not in the vise, that oil. Oh, there we go. And we're left with that, which we need to strip down a bit more, and the bearing on the bottom. And this one is going to be hard to get out, so I'm going to have to play around with what tools I've got and see what I can use to pull this off. I may end up breaking the cage. I don't have a grabber that will go as wide as this diameter, so I'll have a mooch around the garage and see what I've got to pull that. Right, so my options on this one are pretty limited. That's a puller I've got, and as you can see it's not going to go under, it's just going to grab the cage. It's not a good fit at all, and I'm not really getting underneath either. Temptation is to, I think these are torqued up 70 odd Newton meters. I'm tempted to try and get some of these out, but even then probably not going to get them clear. So another option is to take the cage. I'll bust the cage off. I'm renewing this bearing anyway, so whether I destroy it or not doesn't really matter. It's going to get renewed, so I may destroy it and then try and grab somewhere at the top of the inner sleeve of the bearing. I'm going to see if I've got a three-legged puller that may fit, but that's a problem you're going to be faced with on this one. It's quite a tricky one to get off, and it is tight. That's the other battle. Whatever you use to pull this, there's more chance of you pulling the cage off first of all than the actual bearing as a oneer, so be prepared. Right, here we go. Plan A is a slide hammer setup. I've been able to get under the cage on this with these legs. It's not ideal, but I'll give it a few goes and see what happens. Right, here we go. Plan A is a slide hammer setup. I've been able to get under the cage on this with these legs. It's not ideal, but I'll give it a few goes and see what happens. I can't find a proper three-legged puller at the moment to go on here, so I'm just going to try this setup, see what happens. The shock of it may get it moving. Even if I get it moving a little bit, I'll be able to reposition things and maybe get a better grab at it, but we'll see how it goes. I'm not happy with the setup, but it's better than nothing. Right, the cage has come off, so this is plan, I'm not sure what number plan this is, but I'm getting needy now. Let's see if I can get this to pull. Wow, that one put a battle up, but in the end there's only ever going to be one winner. Right, good. Right, next up, all these bolts here, which are torqued, but they're not too tight, I wouldn't think, and they're not Loctited, so they should come out pretty easy. At least that's the plan. Let's do it. Alright, that's that lot, and that should pop off. Let me find something clean to put that on. Alright, out she pops. And down she goes. It all looks in pretty good condition, as I thought it would be. The reason I'm doing this service kit is because I've got the transfer box off. I don't fancy putting all the gearbox back on and not doing the service on this thing, so while it's off I may as well hit it up with all the bearings and then forget about it. So for this, it is the was going to say the copper bushes, which I think are totally destroyed in there. There's no copper bush in there whatsoever. Right, so this is our first housing. We need to get this mechanism off so that we can then drift this out and get the bearing out. But I think there's going to be a detent there. It looks pretty dirty, and I suspect that could well be oh, that's filthy. So there's something there, I'm not sure what it is yet. Let's have a better look. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It's definitely one of the retainers for the selector, so I'll have to clean that out properly. I'll get a smaller screwdriver in there and give it a rake around and see whether it's a hex or a torque. I think it's a torque. So I've cleaned that up a bit and it's definitely a torque on there. I'm hoping it'll come out easy enough. I don't want to get that on that face. Oh God. Oh, that was a serious amount of Loctite on that. And somewhere in there we've got a spring and the ball, which I'm going to have to try and get at a later date. Pretty sure the ball's in there. Next up, I should be able to slide this guy out in full. And get ready to catch the ball as well. Whoa. Whoa, it stinks of oil. Alright, I can see the ball, it hasn't dropped out, but alright, another piece out. Just make sure it goes back in the right way. Then I'm concerned about that ball in there. Another ball bearing. Next up, select the rail out. And there we go. And what you heard drop was this dog. Just check the condition, looks alright to me. Not sure which way around that was, I think it was that way. Alright, next up, this thing I think should just smack out, I'm pretty certain. I think everything else is. Just have a quick look in, make sure it's clear, and yeah, that should hammer out. There we go, another part out. It seems in good nick. Got a spacer of some kind and some sealant on there. Not sure why that's on there. Right, good, another bit out. Alright, I've had to take the actual oil seal out. Oh man, no wonder nothing was moving, that was pretty tight in. So hopefully the bearing will be a little bit freer to move. So next up we have a circlip in here, which I didn't spy earlier, so we'll see if we can get him out. Alright, one circlip out. Not that fiddly, bit of a pain, but not horrendous. And then hopefully we should now be able to drift this out. In theory. Let's see what we've got. That's in tight, man. Right, that got it. It's coming, but it is fighting me every step of the way, and that's some of the copper from one of the thrust washers. It's totally disintegrated. The front of that doesn't feel good either. That's all worn. I have no idea what that is. Something's fused on it. Right, see if I can bash this out. This is awkward. Ow. Alright, let me just grind this one down a bit. Alright, this has been awkward for whatever reason, and I've got a longer punch. I've cleaned it up. Can't believe how hard I'm having to hit this. I'm being really careful not to hit the casing on this. It's quite tight. Just gonna go. Let's have a look. That's it, that's good to drop out. It's coming, you can see just sticking out there. I'm just going to finish up off camera. It's going to be pretty brutal, this last part. Right, finally. I think there's some metal behind that. And something else it's fused on. Alright, one down. Shove all that back in there so I know it came out with that one. That's another one done.